Okay, we're going to talk about a way to do the legs that doesn't include feathering because they're so small and it would take a lot of rows to get it feathered. This is a technique that I learned off of one of Tony McCarthy's videos from Paper Tool World, and this is called flecking. So you can see that the leg has texture and it looks kind of like feathering, but it's not feathering, it's just how you treat that. So if you are not sure about your feathering, or you would like to try something for the alternative for the chest section, I've just cut out the three pieces kind of together. There's a corner of this one missing, but it'll be okay for demonstration purposes. So if you wanted to fleck this, you would have to make a line so that you know where the pieces go and you know the direction of the feathers. So I'm just going to kind of trace where the sections start, and a couple of directional issues for me here, little markers so I know which way the feathers are flowing. Then if you turn it over, you can see these marks on the background. You can either pull towards you or push away from you. I kind of like to push away from me. So you can see your directional lines here. So with flecking, you start with little small lines, and then when you come back with the second row, you want it to make sure that it overlaps the first row so that you don't get stripes. And you're just going to continue to put pressure on a shaping pad onto the paper and keep going all the way up. Make sure that your lines match the curve of the feathering on the front. So like for me, this is where my center line is. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing this until we get to where this piece of the chest ends. Then if we turn this over, you can see that it definitely has texture. It's not feathered, but it has a feel to it, so it's not flat. Then you can come back and retrace where the second piece starts, and then you can curve that one. So now we've got a chest piece here, and then if you want, you can go back and highlight. Just be careful that you do not push through the paper. These are little short lines. Okay, so now you can see that it has a dimension to it. It isn't feathered, but it's not flat. And then you could continue to do this here. So your lines are going to go a little bit curvy here. And then you're going to come back with your second one and make sure that your lines end in where your first line is, so that your rows are overlapping. Because otherwise you'll just end up with really big stripy things, which will just look like little stripy rows. And that's not what you want. You want it to look like there is a texture there. Like for me, I kind of like to go back over it and kind of just pick some other areas because I'm never sure if I'm overlapping a little bit. So if you go back, now you can see that it's starting to take shape. It has a feel to it. You can bend it here and curve it here. Then we're going to go up onto the little third piece that goes over the wing, and we're going to start with our little lines, and I'm going to continue my lines across. Now we get over here, it starts curving the other way. Oops. So you want to make sure that your little flecking lines start to curve the other direction, so your lines stay in the same direction that the feathers are growing, because otherwise it'll look like you went across a line on a hopscotch. It won't be good. So here we're still pretty much centered, and then as we go across, these lines start to curve in the other direction. So your little flecking lines are going to start to curve out. And you're going to keep doing that until you get the whole section covered with little lines. So then when you turn this over, you can see that it has texture. It's not feathered, but it does have a texture. Now, once you do this, you can't shape this anymore. You can shape it with your hands, but you can't use a shaping tool on it. So for the sections that are the chest area, you can bend them around your fingers and then bend them back, and then when you go to put this on your bird, even though it's not feathered, it will have a shape and a texture. So for anybody who's not competent in their feathering and who wants to find a way to fix this, you could do that. You can do flecking, and you can see that there's a texture there. And so then when I come and put my, oops, wrong leg, then when I come and put my front leg on, then I'm still picking up lots of texture, even though it's not feathered. Okay, so learn how to feather. Everybody has to know how to feather. But this is an alternative for small areas. The bird on this one is fairly big to me, so you would probably want to feather these sections. But I don't know that it would be wrong to do the flecking. It's just a different look on the owl. So this one would be like this and like this. And then this piece, this collar piece will go over the top. So there's my, oops, if I can hold on to it. Okay, there's my feathered bird, okay? And here is my flecked bird. Neither's wrong. They have a little different look to them. It's just an alternative for you. You're still going to have to feather the face. You can't fleck the face. You're going to have to feather the face. But I don't know that the flecking and the feathering look bad together. So it's just an alternative for you guys, another way to do something. If you're not competent in your feathering and you want to try this, feel free to do so. It will definitely have a different feel to it, a different look to it. And you'll have to be sure that you get all of your pieces cut so that the lines in the feathering line up. So if I do the flecked front leg and the flecked back leg with the flecked chest, you know, I think you could get away with that if that's what you want to do. Okay? All right.